Can hit. It's a hit.
Are we gonna be drinking coffee more than Tingen? Sure.
What does that mean?
Oh, so like you fringe.
Yes, please.
Oh, okay.
Yes, please.
All right.
You can also keep your laptop and your phone on if you need them.
No.
It's very chilled.
Okay.
No.
Take that?
Yes,
It's very
please. Let me put my phone on silence.
Just send me a message. I need to win.
Let's not forget the laptop.
Itumeleng
Mahatara? Yebo.
Sekhu-Pedi.
Yeah.
Those are two surnames.
Yeah, so Siku is my maiden surname.
Okay, now I'll ask on camera.
And then Pedi is obviously
It's obviously Pedi.
Habby's.
It's not Zulu. You guys haven't started filming.
He's not Pedi, he's
Have you?
actually Tswana.
We can keep this and start, no? Sizo, you don't mind being on camera?
It's fine.
No, I'm asking.
No.
Oh, okay.
Do I look nicer with the blazer or without?
We don't know what you look like without.
You look great.
I think I should take off the blazer.
Aye, take off.
Ke no re fela zaga. Eh?
Nah, man, befuna kuzostripper in studio.
Kore like batho ge ba no re he? Ibile gana le letsogo. Tell
Can I
us
put it
more.
at the back?
Yes. Yes, please. Thank you so much.
We're filming, by the way, so all of this is going to be on camera.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
not even joking.
Okay, no, it's fine.
Itumeleng.
Shock you, darling. Shock you.
Hey, we are Papa.
We have to change the narrative.
Before I welcome you, I want to welcome back one of our crew members, Usizwe Dube, who went on a sabbatical. I thought they'd fired him. I was so happy that they'd fired him.
Wow.
But apparently they hadn't. And he was on a... I'm kidding. Caesar, welcome back, bro. I love you. I missed you a lot, by the way. Jeez, thank you. Tired of seeing Okhomotso's ugly face here. And Dave's bastard. Itumeleng, welcome to the Penuel show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for honoring us with this visit. And more than anything, because this is going to be our first official sit down on my platform, I'd just like people to get to know who you are and get to know your story. Itumeleng, you said your surname, it's a double barrel.
Yeah,
and you
it's a
said it's
double
not
barrel.
Sekhu. It's
No,
Sekhu.
it's not Sekhu. It's Siku.
Sekhu-Pedi.
Sekhu-Pedi ke Motswana.
Okay.
Yeah, Siku. And then Pedi is my husband's surname. So it's like Pedi. But he's also not Pedi. He's also Tswana.
How?
Yeah.
That's weird because people from KwaZulu-Natal whose surname is Uzulu are Zulu people. You don't know the origin of the surname? Of his surname?
No.
He's Motswana with the surname of Upedi.
Yeah.
What does Pedi mean? I
All
don't know
the
if
way
you know.
from Mafikeng. Pedi means two.
Two.
Yeah,
Two.
Pedi. Yes. Pedi means gore, it's like Dimaik it's a Pedi.
Do you know where the people get the name from?
No, I have no idea.
Because the Zulus obviously are the people of the heavens. Izulu is the
wow.
heaven. No, I'm not even trying to be. It's a translation.
Oh, please.
Sci-fi tribalism. Cheers. So it's just two.
It's Zulweni.
And Tswana? Do you know the meaning of Tswana at all? If you say you're Motswana.
No, all I know is that Gabulela, darling.
Okay. Where's home for you? And I obviously have to thank you for inviting me to your platform. I really had a good time meeting the team, meeting your husband, your daughter. So thank you so much for that.
Thanks so much for coming.
Where's home for you, and where does your story start, especially in terms of what we see? Because that obviously becomes your USP, unique selling proposition.
Yes. So home for me is Soshanguve. But before we moved to Soshanguve, and I want to start it there, we stayed go Makapanstad in Hammanskraal.
Yo, I'm meeting so many people from Hammanskraal. I met Justice Malala, political commentator. Apparently, he's also from Hammanskraal.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, I don't
Look
like
at that.
Hammanskraal. Hammanskraal, Mabupane, those pop.
Hammanskraal, darling. As you can see,
Way.
it's birthing.
Svelele.
Diamonds.
Svelele. Sorry, Makapane.
Yes, Makapanstad. So that's where I actually got burnt.
Jeez.
In 1989, electricity. So our parents used candles, right, to lit.
Sure.
And I
We're
was
back
sleeping.
there now. We're back in 1989. We're back to candles.
Exactly, right? How sad is that? And the candle was on the pedestal, and then it fell on the bed. And then it first caught the blanket, and then my pink dress. I was wearing a pink dress that day, and then it caught me. 70 degrees Celsius fire. My mom and her brothers were in the very next room, and they just started smelling smoke. And then my mom then ran into the bedroom after a while, like looking, like, where's this fire from, right? The smoke. And she found me on the bed burning 70 degrees Celsius. So by the time she lifted me up from the bed, my right hand literally stayed behind.
Shit.
My bones were showing. My brain skull was showing. I was then rushed to hospital. And then they had a white glove in my left hand. And literally every day, one finger would literally drop within that glove until I was only left with one thumb.
How old are you at this time?
11 months.
Not even a year old.
Not even a year old. I was 11 months old.
I think I said this when I said with you that it's almost a blessing in disguise that it happened earlier than later.
Yeah.
Because before you could be conscious of having, this has been your life.
This is me. This is who I am.
Yeah.
So I've had to learn how to write like this from a young age. Every single thing that I do is things that I've had to learn from a younger age, just like a normal person,
Sure.
right? So this is me. I'm grateful, like what you're saying, because I don't know anything else but this.
Sure. You can't be depressed and be like,
Exactly.
oh, I miss my
like,
arm.
oh my God, I used to do this with my arm.
Yeah.
My face used to look like this. Yes, I've got a picture of me just before I got burned. But yeah.
Have you had conversations with your parents about the whole thing, like continuously? I ask because I can imagine the trigger that things like candles,
Yeah.
children being alone in a room
Yeah.
would probably have on them. Do they have that type of paranoia to
My
this day?
mom-
Do you have that paranoia?
My mom has serious trauma. Load shedding or not, she will not use a candle. We have never used gas anything at home. So like we don't use gas heaters, we don't use gas stoves, anything that has got to do with fire, we don't do.
Yeah.
So my mom and my siblings, they've got secondhand trauma, right?
Sure.
Where my siblings also, like my sister lives alone now with her child, but she will not use anything that has got to do with candles, with gas heaters, none of that.
Do you know if they've ever gone for therapy?
No, they've never.
Do you think they should?
I think they should. And I think that's the thing with Black people, right? So I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I said to her that as Black people, we are so used to being strong.
Yes.
Like, get over it. Like, when something like this happens, it's like,
Sure.
you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, heaven.
Especially Black women. Imbokodo.
Especially Black women and
Imbokodo.
Black men, can I just say? And
Okay.
Black men, where like now you are even afraid to even talk about your emotions,
Yeah.
about what you're feeling. For example, like my dad left, right?
Your
So,
mom and
yeah.
the family.
No, so like my dad left my mom
Okay.
and us because he was just like, this is just too much for me. And he
What was
left.
too much?
The fire.
Are you serious?
Yes.
He left because of the event.
He left because of it. He left my mom because of the tragedy. And he was a Black man who just left. And we've never spoken about it, by the way. With
He
my
never came
dad.
back.
He never came back.
Do you have a relationship with him?
I did. So when I was in school and varsity, especially in varsity, he played a very huge role in my life. So like my
Okay.
dad is a businessman,
Okay.
very, very successful, but he was like a bank to me.
Okay.
And I wanted more.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want a father.
Yeah.
Yes, your money is nice, but over and above your money, I also just want to have a dad.
Sure.
Can you just like hug me?
Mm.
Can you just hold me?
Mm.
Can I just call you? And then the first thing that I hear is, oh my God, my baby, how are you doing?
Mm.
The first thing that I would hear from my dad is, are you okay? No. Hello? No, excuse me?
Mm.
No, I don't want money, actually. I just wanted to hear your voice. You're my dad.
Mm.
And I'm in varsity. And school is tough.
Mm.
And I just wanted to hear my dad's voice to just like comfort me.
Mm.
None of that.
I think one of the cool things, well, it's not cool. One of the things is your dad was normal.
Yeah.
A lot of our fathers,
Wow.
a lot of our fathers were not trained to be the type of fathers we are being trained to be more present, to connect emotionally. When I speak to their generation, they say they didn't even speak to their fathers at all.
That's the thing.
They were scared of them,
Yeah.
etc. So they like the fact that you can even call me is a big deal. So at least that part is normal. Was he contributing to you from when he left? And do you feel he was ever ashamed and felt guilty? Why do you think he left? Because you know what tends to happen with a lot of married couples is when something happens, let's say you give birth to a child who's challenged in some way, there are fights. Some of them are financial. Sometimes it's money. Do you think he was ashamed and embarrassed of what happened? Maybe he felt responsible? Or do you think what happened caused him and your mom maybe to fight a lot? And he was like, I'm not going to stay here for the fighting. What do you think could have been the cause?
They didn't fight. Let me tell you what happened. So the story is, I got burnt on a Thursday, right? And that day, my mom and my dad had just come from shopping, and etc. And then he came and then dropped my mom off, and then he left, right? And then the tragedy happened that night, and he just never came back.
Were they ever married?
Yes, they were.
And he left the marriage just like that?
No, my mom is the one that left the marriage. My mom was like, okay.
Oh, your mom left the marriage, but your father left the home.
Yeah. So that's just like, oh, okay. So you are choosing not to be there for me and for my children.
Yeah.
That's okay. Goodbye.
Do you think you have daddy issues?
I don't. And I'll tell you what. I used to have daddy problems until I got a revelation, like what you are saying now. The revelation was you can't give what you don't have.
Sure.
And my dad didn't get that love that I was yearning for from his parents.
Yeah.
So therefore, he doesn't know it.
Sure.
And that is where the forgiveness journey for me started.
Yeah.
And that's how I started to forgive my dad. Because then I was like, oh, I now finally get it. Daddy issues, how I got that revelation was from my Heavenly Father, right? So I am a full-on fledged like Christian. And for me, God is my father, he's my friend, he's my lover, he's my everything.
Yeah.
And that's where I got that revelation from. But he then started fulfilling that fatherly role in my life. And I remember the first journey that I went with God was, I love you. And I didn't realize that that's just what I needed to hear from my dad. I love you. You're beautiful. And you are meant to be here because you have a purpose, right? And your purpose is to bring hope and healing to people. Why? Because my scars are external, but every single person has got a scar within.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we all have a story to tell, right? And that's where the healing journey for me started. And because of my Heavenly Father's love, I then started receiving the love, but I also started feeling it. And and that love is what transformed my mindset.
At what age do you think this started?
I was in varsity. So
Okay.
I became a born-again Christian in matric. 2007, and then 2008 and 9, that's where I really started yearning and seeking God. Because for me, it was just like, why am I here? I don't want to be here. And because of my burns, I actually tried to commit suicide 3 times.
Really?
Yeah.
At which point?
My first suicide attempt, I was in grade 5. Second suicide attempt, I was 15 years old with my late brother. And then my third suicide attempt, I was in grade 11. And I took 300 pills.
300?
300 pills. And before I did that, people were dying from like 50 pills, 40, maybe even 30 here and there. And I was like, listen.
Auntie, when are you a tank?
I was like, listen.
I'm going all in, boy.
I'm going all in. This time, I'm going to meet this so-called powerful being.
Sure.
Right? Because I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
I'm a ghost. I'm ugly. What quality of life am I ever going to have?
Yeah.
People are staring at me. I feel like I don't belong. So I just want to die. And then I took the 300 pills and I drank them. Then I wrote a note to my mom. And then I said, hi, Mom. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your sacrifices, but I just don't want to be here. And then I slept because, I wanted to die like a nice
Cinderella.
peaceful death. Like,
Or Sleeping Beauty, not Cinderella.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that didn't happen.
Because you're a tank and you're here to serve a higher purpose.
Yeah.
And you acknowledge that.
Yes.
What was the grade 5 suicide attempt like and the 15-year-old one?
The grade 5, I took detergents. I had like a cocktail.
Cocktailiana, mojito.
Handy Andy, Domestos, Jake was there, Sunlight, and then I just like mixed it up, drank it. Also, nothing happened.
Yeah.
15 years old, my brother found me in my bedroom and I was crying. And my brother had such a soft spot for me. Like I was literally his like number 1 princess.
Yeah.
Like my brother didn't want anything.
Shout out to your brother.
Yeah.
Shout out to your brother, man.
And he found me crying. And then I was like, oh my God, I don't want to be here. I'm ugly. And then we started crying together. Oh my God. It was just this like, emotional day. And then I was like, oh yeah, and I don't even want to live, I want to kill myself. And then he was like, you know what? I'm going to kill myself with you. And then he took me and we went to the middle of the road and we stood there. And it was late at night. It was like 9 p.m. or so. So like we knew like it was dark and a car was just going to come and just like, bah.
What's the age gap between you and your brother?
My brother was, he was 1977.
Jeez, so it's almost a 10-year gap.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like...
Is he a sensitive soul?
Very sensitive. He was. He passed away in 2017.
Shit, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That must have hit.
Yeah, it did.
You're wow.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a story of someone being like, I want to take my life.
Yeah.
And whether it's their brother or their romantic partner saying, let's go do it. Let's do it together. Because if you're suffering, then I'm suffering.
Yeah.
Shout out to him, and I'm sorry that he's passed on, but I don't support him wanting to support you with suicide. But I support him wanting to stand in solidarity with you and your suffering. And I think the lesson for other siblings that have siblings that are going through some type of mental strain is be there for them. Don't take them to the middle of the road, of course. But maybe be like, look, let's go speak to someone together. I'll come with you to therapy. I'll go speak to people. If there are people calling you names, I'll be there. I'll be your shield because it's the least we can do. I wanted to ask about your mom, and then I want to take it back to your upbringing as a whole. I asked if you have daddy issues. Do you have mommy issues at all?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. My mom is a warrior.
Yeah.
My mom is resilient. My mom is a powerful, resilient woman. My mom is shot, that woman. She took her own child out of a fire. That woman. She went in and she dived in and she was like, that's my child and I'm going to take her from there. Was in a coma for 3 months. The doctors were like, listen, dude, we kind of need to switch off the machines because, I mean, she doesn't even have fingers on her hand.
Sure, and she's not even a year old.
She's not even a year old.
So maybe mama let her go.
Yes, you know. And my mom was like, yay, you dare do that to my child. I will sue you and I will sue this hospital. And my mom was there feeding me every single day. So like my mouth here was burnt so much so that I had like a big hole here.
Okay.
So they had to feed me like manually. I couldn't have a drip.
Sure.
And my mom fed me every after 15 minutes. Like she would like come through.
Yeah.
You know, and she would like feed me until they managed to like, you know,
sure,
make things happen. And my mom was there. She even resigned from her work. She was a professional teacher at the time for maths and history. And she was like, I have to take care of my child. Sorry. And she left. Single woman, not, my dad is not there now anymore. And she was just like,
how many kids?
5 kids.
Sure.
2 passed away. So now there's only 3 of us left.
How many fathers? I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out how many children did you have with your father?
Yeah.
And then how many kids did she have outside of your dad?
So my mom had 1 with my father.
Which is you?
Yes, which is me. And then she had 2 other men as well.
Okay.
So like my sister and my brother.
So you're the only child from your parents? And both your parents sound like they were strong. Do you think that's arguably where you get some of your self-confidence from?
I get my self-confidence from God. And I say that because before I became a Christian, I was a mess.
Yeah.
I was a mess. Like my mom is such a beautiful woman. Like my whole family, actually, like my siblings, my brother was also very handsome, you know, like tall. Oh my God, like very, very handsome. And whenever my mom would say to me, but you're so beautiful, I would just feel like, yeah, but you're talking from a place of privilege.
Sure.
So like, I'm not even going to listen to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're not being stared at. You're not being called names. You're not being seen in a different light. Yeah. I am. And that was also another reason why I never went for therapy. I was like, what are you going to say to me?
Sure.
Like you're normal. You've got 2 hands. You've got 10 fingers. Your face is not scarred.
You'll never be able to understand.
Yes. So now like you're going to be then be on some, oh, you know, you're a man. No, I was like, no, like, please.
Yeah.
You know, so as much as I had people around me who were supportive, but I felt like they didn't understand because they were not in my shoes.
Sure.
So it's only when I became a Christian, when I started finding that solace that I needed. And that solace came from within. And I think that is what helped me.
I personally think your parents played a role. I mean, considering the character that you paint your mom as, I do see that in you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And because I know that you're a businesswoman, I see parts of your father as well in that. Maybe in summary, your experience in school, primary, high school, did you go to normal schools? How did the kids treat you? How did the teachers treat you?
I went to a school for disabled people in Westcliff.
Westcliff?
Yeah. In
Where's
Westcliff.
No, which area is it?
In Parktown.
In Johannesburg?
Yeah, in Johannesburg.
You went to a privileged school?
Darling.
Hey, parents had money, Mos.
No.
This is as a young child. You were at Westcliff?
From nursery school.
Hectic. Okay.
Do you know where the Westcliff Hotel is?
I do.
Right behind it.
Okay.
Yeah.
A school for disabled children?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to mention the name? Or?
Yeah. So it's called Hope School, and I was there from 1994. I was the first Black child in that school.
Hey, first Black.
Yeah.
Obama.
I was the first Black child. Let me tell you how. My mom, again. Oh, guys, like that woman. Oh, I so guy. So my mom, when it was approaching like 1994, You know, she was like, listen, my child needs to start nursery school and I can't take her to a normal school, right? And then she went to the union buildings.
Wow.
Who like does that? And then she was like, hey, I'm here to see Mandela. And then people were like, hey, what's wrong, man? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You know? And she was like, listen, I have a badly burnt child and I'm looking for a specific school for her.
Yeah.
And then they called Mandela's secretary, some white lady. And then she was like, you know what? I actually have the perfect school for you. And then she's the one that called to that school and said, I'm going to send to this woman on Monday. I want you to take her child. And that's how they took me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your mom is a serious activist.
Serious. Like my mom does not take no for an answer. Like she's
Again,
like,
I see her in you.
Yeah.
Because you are a serious powerhouse and an activist yourself.
Yeah. Fully.
How was life at Hope School? How did you feel about the other kids that were there?
I mean, like, we were all like disabled, so it was okay. You know, the fun part was that when one would tease you, you're like, yeah, but Luena.
At least I got 2 arms.
Do you know what I mean? Oh yeah, but I mean,
Children are rubbish.
Yeah.
Children are actually rubbish.
Yeah.
But was it in good spirit? Or,
oh yeah.
Because kids can be nasty.
Kids were nasty.
At that school as well.
Yeah, even at that school. And I think also like growing up as a young girl, you grow up thinking that you're a princess and you know what I mean? And then somebody just comes and says, oh, but you're burnt, so you look like this franchise meat. And you're like, what?
Wow.
And that is what tore my self-confidence. And that is what broke my self-esteem to a point where it literally crippled every single ounce of esteem that I had within me. And I was like, okay, why am I here? Why am I here? The thing that kept me going throughout school was that I was a very smart kid.
Yeah.
So school was my solace. And that's where I found my confidence, you know, in a way to say, but you know, I'm smart.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm like number one, darling.
Take it easy.
You know.
You know, my mother's been a school teacher for longer than I've been alive, so over 37 years. And I've gone to her for a lot of mentorship in raising my children. And one of the things she's always been big on is self-confidence.
Yeah.
So she's like, even if a kid is not good at school, they must sing.
Yes.
They must dance. They need to find at least that one thing where they're like, in this thing, you can't touch me. And I think sometimes parents, they focus only on the academics, which you are lucky to be great at. And when kids don't have that, they don't look at other things and say, look, you have a superpower. And if anyone says anything about you, at least you have this. You're like, look, we can dance now.
Yeah.
I'll show you flames.
Yeah.
You had hope throughout school?
I was at Hope School throughout school. However, I did have like a 2-year gap where I went to another school in Pretoria called Pretoria School. Reason being is because every single time when my mom would drop me off at school, I would cry.
Okay.
I'd be like, no, mom, don't leave me.
Because it's far. You guys were still in Sosha.
At the time, actually, we were in Makapanstad.
Okay.
You know, and I was like, oh my God, don't leave me. And then the school then suggested that, listen, there's another school similar to this school in Pretoria.
It's a bit closer.
Yeah, it's a bit closer to you guys. So, you know, got to that school. So Hope School is like it is the top school for children with like physical, you know, ability. So it's like a private school. So when I got to Pretoria School, which was a government.
Don't do that.
Don't
say what you're about to say.
No. The education was just beneath the level that I had received already from Hope School. So like the basis that I'd received was very, very high. So then they had to send me back. You know, it was just like, no, like we are just like wasting your time.
Government again, government.
Sorry.
One of my favorite movie franchises is the X-Men series. I'm a huge movie fanatic, and I find inspiration, motivation, and perspective in movies. The X-Men series, when I watched it, so many underlying messages and metaphors. One of them being different. And you've got Professor Xavier, who's on a wheelchair. He's already physically disabled, and he's got the school for gifted children who are different. And when you watch the franchise movies, so many of the kids, they're different color. There's one whose dad tries to hide him because he's got wings that keep growing at the back. And I try to imagine how many disabled kids would watch this movie and hopefully get inspiration and be like, okay, maybe I have a different superpower. You might look like this. You actually look normal, which is kind of lame. Like, people will remember me.
Yeah.
If I walk in a room, I'm the guy on the seat. I'm the guy that looks different.
Yeah.
You're just the normal. People will be like, did you see the...
Yeah.
I'm that guy. And how to get those children who are differently able to find their superpower. Could be your voice. It could be anything. And it inspired me. Because at some point in the movie, they speak about humans versus mutants. And there's this whole concept of we want to fix the mutants. We want to find a cure. And one of the leaders of the mutants, Magneto, says things like, we don't need a cure. We're actually the best version of human. I wanted to ask your thoughts on plastic surgery, fixing yourself, wanting to be normal. How you've thought about that growing up, how you feel about it now. For a lot of kids who look in the mirror, hear people call them names, and they're like, if someone can give me something, I'm so glad there's COVID, I get to wear a mask, no one sees me. Kanye West was wearing this face mask.
Yeah.
I want that. Give me, how do you feel about that? Where kids are like, I'm different, I'm a mutant. I want to be normal.
All right, so now we're becoming controversial.
Go for it.
Excuse me. I think plastic surgery will not fix what is within you. When I was 15, the medical aid that my mom was using actually offered, to sponsor plastic surgery for me. And at the time, the Michael Jackson thing was... Yeah. So the plastic surgeon that we went to go and see was like, listen, I'm going to cover your scars and you will look like you don't have scars now anymore. Sorry. And the person that I wanted to look like was Aaliyah. She was beautiful.
She was the goddess of beauty at the time.
Yeah. So now I was like, can you make me look like her? And he was like, of course.
Sure.
And it's so weird because as like time was going and they were starting to plan it, and so forth, I then felt like, but no, wait. If they cover my scars and then I look like a different person to me, then people won't recognize me. That's how my mental thought, at the time, I was like...
But no one will recognize me anymore.
Yeah, I was like 15 years old. So now it was like, okay, so now I have to start reintroducing myself now again. I'm getting Itumeleng, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now like for me, that's just, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe much later on. And I'm so glad that I didn't do it. You know why? It would not have fixed the internal.
Yeah.
How you feel about yourself externally is how you feel here. That is why when people go and change their nose, for example, they will still not be happy. They will go and change their lips now. And then they'll change their dida.
They'll bleach.
And then it's this.
Bleaching is the in thing.
Yeah.
BBLs now. Normal girls, healthy looking girls want a thinner waist and a big ass. And you're like, really?
And you're like, why? Right? And it's because of how they feel about themselves from within. And that's where beauty actually comes in. To say that you need to find your beauty. You need to redefine your own beauty. This is how I look like. It's either I start appreciating myself and start loving myself just as I am, and then the world will then start loving you. Because if you don't love yourself, then people will see it.
And we've seen some of the most good-looking people take
Yeah.
their lives because they are miserable inside.
Because of they are miserable within. It's not the external. And the word beauty is actually a French word called beauté, right? And beauté is derived from a Latin word called bellissus.
Yeah.
Bellissus means to glow. So beauty is actually not the physical appearance,
Not
like
a
how
physical
we
structure.
were taught.
Yeah.
Beauty is actually when somebody is glowing. And now when I started finding my beauty and I started standing firm in my beauty and I started defining my beauty and saying, no, but I am beautiful.
Yeah.
Then people then started seeing my beauty because that beauty was resonating from within me.
Sure.
So when people see me now and they're like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. I'm like, I know, darling.
Come on. Let them know.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
know that I'm beautiful.
Yeah.
That is why I don't need certain things to make me look like I am beautiful. I'm already beautiful.
There's like a huge project of psychological oppression
Yeah.
that has happened. I
Yeah.
remember in Black America, there was a whole campaign of Black is beautiful, getting young Black kids to be like, you're beautiful, you're Black and you're beautiful. And it seems with social media today, and there's a term called social dysmorphia, where young kids want to look like they're filters.
Yeah.
And they want plastic surgery
Yeah.
and they want the makeup. And there's constantly been a fight to not be at peace with self. And I don't know how we're going to get it right, because I know on your platform, one of the conversations was, at which point do we stop? Is it, must we take off our clothing? Must we stop doing our hair? Must we not wear makeup at all? Are you comfortable with what you look like naked
Yes, naked.
by
Yeah.
yourself? And it's heartbreaking for me.
Yeah. But you know, like what it is? It's propaganda. It's beauty companies that make people feel insecure about how they look like,
Yes.
so that they can purchase their products,
Yes.
so that people can start feeling beautiful.
Yes.
This was never the case.
Do you what did I want to ask? But it's around models. The concept of the perfect woman is tall, thin, white or pale,
Yeah.
with long, and still today we still find in certain industries, no, you're too big.
Yes.
You're plus size, which is what's leading again in 2023 to beautiful Black women bleaching, being anorexic and starving themselves. There was a question I wanted to ask. It's gone. But your thoughts around how do we fix it? How do we fix telling, especially young girls, because it seems the model to this day. I mean, Kim Kardashian has recently removed her implants.
Yeah.
Alicia Keys had to go on a campaign to stop wearing makeup. How do we get young girls to be like, you're beautiful? And yes, we're not saying, because I've got an issue with women who are, I'm big and fabulous.
Yeah.
Like, this is not good for your health. You can be a bit healthier. Don't overeat and be like,
Yeah.
no, I'm trying to be healthy. But if you're big bone naturally, this is who you are.
Yeah.
Own it. How do
Yeah.
we, and should we be changing maybe even what we call beauty pageants?
I think it starts with people like us, for example, who are now having this conversation
Yeah.
to say that, but look at somebody like me, for example, 70% scarred face, and I'm saying I'm beautiful. So I'm already changing the
How dare she?
narrative. Yes.
How dare she?
How dare she? And I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with not getting certain campaigns. I'm fine because I'm just like, but I'm not here for just money. I'm also here to change people's perspective on beauty, because we are actually killing people. Children are committing suicide
Yes.
because they think that they are not beautiful. I was one of them. I tried to commit suicide 3 times because I was like, I will never amount to this type of beauty that we were sold when you are just a young little girl. And you look at that picture, by the way, which doesn't exist. Not even the thinnest person who is tall, light, pale, whatever, feels beautiful.
Yeah.
Not even them. They are also still like filtered here and there because it doesn't exist. It does not exist.
And the point is to push product.
And
is
the
what you're saying.
point is to push product. The point is to push weight loss programs. Oh, but you need to look like this, right? The point is to push these weight loss pills that are actually killing people.
Yes. That's you now being controversial, but you're right.
Yeah.
You're very right. A lot of these products, the bleaching, the chemicals,
everything.
the things you're ingesting,
It's
they've got
propaganda.
crazy side effects. And
Yeah.
some people are literally dying.
And they are literally dying. And people are then told that, yeah, but if you want to fit this paradigm, then this is what you need to do. And I'm saying, actually, let's just drift back a little bit. Let's help people feel beautiful. Let's help people see their beauty.
Yeah.
Because beauty is not what you look at. Beauty is actually what you see. Right? So people can look at you and they can perceive you in a certain manner.
Yeah.
But once they see you, then they start seeing your beauty. And I'm okay with that. I'm just like, you know what? That's fine. Because I'm confident and I'm comfortable in my own beauty. So I don't even need to explain it to the next person. How am I changing that? I've got a foundation called the Itumeleng Sekhu Foundation, and we have adopted 200.
Sekhu Foundation?
Yeah.
Oh, without the Pedi?
Yes,
Okay.
without the Pedi. So the foundation was birthed in 2015.
Okay.
So the foundation, we have adopted 250 schools, and we go around schools motivating young little girls and boys.
Yeah. And boys
And
is very
boys,
important.
yeah.
Yeah.
About their beauty, to redefine the nonsense that they've been fed this whole time. And I put myself there. I'm like the ambassador, and I'm like, Zah! And I'm like, and now like these young girls, they look at me and boys, and they're like, no, actually, damn, like she's actually beautiful.
Yeah.
Because of now they're starting to see their own beauty. And then they're like, she's onto something, right? Another thing as well that I do is that I have workshops with corporates, and so forth, where I actually teach people to find their beauty. Because here's how powerful beauty is. If you don't feel beautiful, then you will lack confidence. You will lack leadership. You will lack communication skills. You will lack relationship skills. You won't even be able to be the best version of yourself in that company.
Yes.
Because you lack confidence.
Yes.
You lack your beauty. So beauty, everything starts from there. If you feel beautiful, you will conquer the world. You will open doors that people have never, because you are like, but why not? I'm going there.
Thank you so much for the work you're doing, man. I was going to say, please don't just do the children. There are so many grown-ups. We
Yeah.
think because people are old,
Yeah,
they're not scared and they're not suffering from the same. There are so many grown-ups
so many.
that need motivation, inspiration, to
Yeah.
be reminded,
Yeah.
you're beautiful.
Yeah.
Women that have given birth to children. Oh, I used to be pretty. Now
Yeah.
you're like, you're beautiful. You've
Yeah.
had kids.
Yeah.
You're meant to change. This guy who's your partner,
Yeah.
he's a father. He's
Yeah.
older. He's also not looking the same as.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for the work you're doing. We appreciate it so much. I wanted to ask where your mom was getting money if she left teaching. And I wanted to ask your relationship with your siblings in the context where there are children in families who are the prettier ones and they get special attention. Oh, there's the beautiful sister, or everyone, oh, you're whoever's sister.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, you find families where there is a child in the family who has extra needs. They're on a wheelchair, they go to a special school, and some of the other kids might feel like they're sidelined. Like,
Yeah.
oh, why is Itu always getting special attention?
Yeah.
She's got a bigger budget.
Yeah.
Everyone panics when she's around. I've got my own struggles.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to know where your mom was getting her money and support, and what your relationship was with your siblings.
So my rock star mom knocked on every single corporate you can think of and she would knock there. It's mad at this woman. And she would say, hey guys, I've got this bill that I need to pay hospital thingy for, and it's 400,000 rands, for
Jeez.
example. Can you guys please donate? And the more she started doing that, then corporate actually started to adopt me.
Yeah.
So I've had 104 surgeries.
That's insane.
Let that sink in. 104 operations.
Is there a story there?
Because of the...
No, I'm asking if there's a story in terms of, would you like to talk about some of your experiences with the surgeries and post?
I mean, not really.
You don't have to speak about it now. I'm just asking.
I mean, not really. But
Okay.
yeah, it's like a conversation that we
Crazy.
can have.
104
yeah.
surgeries. Sorry.
104 surgeries. So from 11 months until I was 15 years,
Yeah.
my plastic surgeon fit in 104 surgeries there.
You're a friend of the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
They should have like your own ward. It was back. Welcome. Here's your VIP.
Yes. There's yours, yeah. So corporates then started to transfer money straight to the hospitals. You know.
Shout out to the corporates,
yeah.
man. I know I bash corporates a lot for rubbish and profits and not doing enough. But for the times when they really, really do good, I want to thank all corporates that actually good people inside there who are like, this is the right thing to do. So shout out to the corporates.
So up until I was 15, all of my hospital bills were paid for by my mom, just like knocking on doors and saying, "Kikopa donation," you know, and they were nice people, you know, with beautiful hearts, and they would be like, "Oh, how much is it? 100,000? Okay, cool." Until she was able to afford a medical aid.
Okay.
Which was, I think, around like 97, 98, because she became a social worker actually because of my parents, right? And she was like, let me rather just like become a social worker. And then she started studying and so
your life and your experience has been influential and impactful on everyone in various ways.
Yeah.
No, please carry on. Sorry.
So that's how they were funded.
She became a social worker. Sorry, she studied and became a social worker.
She became a social worker, and then she started taking care of other people as well. So my mom has such a beautiful heart. Yeah, so that's how they were funded.
Your relationship with your siblings?
Oh yes, my relationship with my siblings. So I barely had a relationship with my siblings, especially the three, which is my sister, and then my younger sister.
Okay.
The firstborn and the secondborn, we had a relationship because obviously when I would come back from school, they would be the ones that would, you know, especially because I was in boarding school. So I would only come back on Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday I would
be back.
Yeah. So it was kind of shaky because I was also just like going through my own like low self-esteem moments, and I was just like, I don't want to be seen. I want to hide myself in the house. So like, you know what I mean? I only really started building a relationship with my sister and my younger sister when I left matric, because then, you know, I was home more and stuff. With my younger sister, it was a little bit more different, because she was just like drawn to me.
Yeah. So
I was just like, listen, guys, I have a sister, okay? And she doesn't look like any of y'all. You know? So like with her, like we've had like a much longer relationship.
Yeah.
With my older sister, I think we are really like starting to build that relationship. Like we've become more closer now over the past like 3 to 4 years or so, like 5 years. Yeah, so now like we are like, you know, I've always been the favorite child. Not favorite per se, but my mom paid more attention to me because of obviously like the scars.
Yeah. And
she would say things like, "Ish, guys, like my child has already been through so much. So like, can I just, I want till today, actually, if I call my mom and I'm like, Mom, I've got flu, and she would leave everything and she would like come running, you know. So like my siblings have a problem with that.
They have a problem.
Yes, like every
Like
time
a real
she
problem,
calls,
or they're just like, ah.
No, it's like every time she calls, like you run.
Yeah.
But when we call, it's like,
Sure.
no, fella, woman. Like a flu, a pack, man. You know what I mean? Like you'll be fine. So like my older sister especially, like she had a very big problem. Like for her it was just like, listen, ratswana mo. Do you know what I mean? Like we're all equal.
Sure.
So treat us all the same.
Yeah.
You know, I loved that also because when I was growing up, because of my sister, I knew that I had to wash the dishes.
Sure.
I had to clean the house.
Sure.
Like
Your older sister.
Yes, like
she was
just
"Yeah,
like,
Baba.
listen.
Yeah, Baba."
Like, yeah, weda. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that.
Yeah. It made you normal.
Yeah, it made me
I've
normal.
got a bigger sister. She's annoying me. She says I must go wash the dishes.
Yeah.
That's nice.
But she made me feel like we are all the same here.
Sure.
We are all here.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. So I really love that. But yeah, like she's always had a problem with the fact that like my mom like jumps every time.
She comes before you.
She comes after me. Yes.
Before you.
Yes, yeah.
No, I say this because
Yeah,
for some kids, obviously, whenever there's a younger, they always get annoyed because it's attention that moves.
Yeah.
Now, if the attention is even expanded, it's
even
like, this is nonsense.
Yeah.
Thank you to your sister. You're married
Yes.
with children.
Yeah.
We have to hear that story. I've met your husband as well.
Yeah.
I don't want to say, I'll let you tell your story.
Yeah.
What an amazing, beautiful man,
Yeah.
if I may.
Tall, dark, and handsome, darling.
Correct?
Yes. So my husband, when I met him, I was already in the media industry.
Okay.
I had actually left, was staying at a place called Windsor.
Oh, near Cresta.
Yes, near.
I need to stop you. I apologize.
Yeah.
We're jumping. We spoke about Hope School and Pretoria School. I thought the husband story was going to start in tertiary. I'd like you to please summarize your tertiary experience before work.
Tertiary was amazing, but it didn't start that way.
Okay. Because this is different now. You're not in a specific school for... Now you're mainstream.
Yes, now it's like...
ordinary, rubbish, normal kids.
50,000 people.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm from a school where I think the whole school from like grade 0 to like grade 12, I think we're like 300 or 400.
Crazy. That's tiny.
And we were all like disabled, for example.
So there was some level of sensitivity.
So like, yes.
Yeah.
You know, and then moved to varsity. First year.
Where did you go to varsity?
UJ.
Okay. Which campus?
Kingsway.
Hey.
Of course.
Auckland Park.
Yeah.
By Campus Square.
Yeah.
Arc.
You know, the best or nothing.
Ow. Why are you shading Doornfontein and Soweto? Stop it. We don't like people like you. Except we love all the UJ kids at Doornfontein and Soweto. Please don't listen to
Oh my
Itu.
God, yes.
Yeah, the APK kids at Kingsway used to love thinking they're the uppity kids. Sorry, please carry on.
Period.
UJ APK.
Yeah, so I was there first year. And now I stayed at Res, right?
Which res?
Krensig. Yeah, it was
I know.
Krensig.
I'm gonna ask because I was a UJ kid, 2008, doing my honors in accounting.
Really?
Yeah.
2008?
2008. When were you there?
I was there 2008, 9, 10, 11.
Jeez. Maybe we crossed paths.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. Where were you?
No, I wasn't. I came from Rhodes University in Grahamstown. So I was just there for honors. I was staying off campus.
Okay.
Used to spend a lot of time with the rugby guys at Afslan.
Oh, yes.
I knew some of the ladies from Benjamin.
Oh, nice.
Krensig.
Yeah.
Amperdar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew them professionally as a student. I just need to, But Bastion, Afslan, the rugby guys.
Yeah.
But I spent a lot of time off campus studying. And then I was seeing a lady in Grahamstown. So I used to travel a lot as well. Sorry, please continue.
Okay.
At Krensig.
Yeah. So I was at Krensig. so that helped a little because first year, I don't know if you know, but like race have got this like rituals.
Yes. The Afrikaans universities are big.
Yes.
UJ, which was Rao.
Yeah.
University of Pretoria, Dickies. Poch used to.
Yes. UCT as well.
I don't know about UCT
Yes,
as in
like,
English, but I know Stellenbosch. The Afrikaans varsities are big on the Tradisi and the Kautir and the juniors must do this and have a uniform.
Oh, it was
At
terrible.
Rhodes, we didn't have all of that.
It was terrible. Like here you are in first year and every single Monday, like you need to wear this pink shirt.
Oh, and the boys would serenade you guys.
Yes.
The boys would come and sing for you. Yay! Yay!
At 5 a.m. in the morning. Oh,
UJ all the
God.
way.
But let me tell you how naughty I was. So first year when you're at res, you're not allowed to use the lifts, right?
Sure, because you're a plebe. They called it a plebe in the guys.
And then you were only allowed to use the stairs from like second floor. So now I was just like, listen, hackers. As you can see, my right leg is burnt. So, I mean, I can't walk up the stairs. And then they let
Sorry
me
guys,
use
can
the
I please
lifts.
jump the queue as you can see?
No, I mean, like, come on.
Nonsense.
You know what I mean?
We don't need people like you in society. Taking advantage. I swear.
Well, it worked for me.
So you got to use the lift from first year.
Yeah.
It's so unfair. I would have protested.
Oh no,
I would have
please.
made
For
boards
what?
and be like, who's
who
this lady?
knew that you could walk up those stairs?
Nonsense. Such a nonsense child.
Yeah.
But well done, shame on using it.
I mean,
People
like,
use what they have. It's what
why
you had.
not?
You're like, hey
Yeah.
guys, please, can you help me?
Yes, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, don't worry,
sorry.
Itu.
Yeah, of course. Like, please, like. Another thing as well, if you were in first year, like you were supposed to sit on the floor, I was just like, sorry, but like my leg, guys, my leg. And I sat on the chair.
I'm judging you right now.
Oh no, it was so beautiful.
I'm judging you right now. Jeez.
It was so beautiful. Anyway, so that helped me a lot because then I managed to sort of like have friends at res, right?
Yeah.
Which helped a lot. Because at the time I was still going through my healing journey.
Sure.
So I was still very meek and but externally people thought, oh my God, like she's a vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But deep down, I was just like on some.
You hadn't overcome the internal scars at the time, but you were portraying as if you were fine with the external.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So, but it was so beautiful, man. Like, I got to meet amazing people there. The boys' races, as well. Like, they were like just like amazing people who were just like, I want to get to know her better.
Sure.
So that was quite nice. However, the first 6 months at the classrooms were very tough for me.
The lecture halls, the rings.
Yeah. I actually remember the first day I walked into BLS 101. And that was the very, very first day. And I remember walking, and I was a bit late.
Wee.
And I opened the door, and everybody just went, what?
You were coming from the front?
Yeah.
Woo.
And they were just like, what? How you ever do? And then people just like stared like, huh? It wasn't that dramatic, but it was just like, what? It was just like, all eyes on me, And I walked in slowly, sat in the front, and then the lecturer said, welcome, da-da-da. Obviously, I mean, like, she couldn't chase me away. Like, she was probably like, I'm probably going to even, like, break her even more. Like, this poor child, you know what I mean?
You're making me think now that, like, many, like, differently able people probably take advantage. They probably watch us and they're like, sorry, can you please help me carry? Oh, don't worry. Kantu was just being a swine, being like, look at these bastards.
I mean, I had extra time at varsity and I ride faster than most people with both hands.
Really?
Yeah.
You just investigate with Itumeleng. Investigation.
Oh no, it's already done now. I've got my degree.
They gave you extra time.
Yeah. I got
That's
extra
really not
time.
fair.
Oh, it was so beautiful.
Can I say something inappropriate?
Yeah.
I apologize, and I'm taking liberties because it's you. I hate disabled parking. I hate
love
it because I look at the probabilities of a disabled. Like whenever you park in a mall, it's always empty.
Yeah, it's always empty.
And I'm like, no. If a disabled person comes, make space for them. But why must this parking stay empty?
Because it's for special
I
people.
swear, no. If we have to treat you guys as normal, struggle like us and go park somewhere there.
I mean, we
far
don't
away.
even stand in queues, you know that?
Oh,
Yeah. I will
sorry.
get to
Carry
like
on.
a
They
shop.
gave you extra time, UJ.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
Beautiful. You know? Yeah. I'm
So you
like,
got extra time to write
yes,
tests and exams.
everything.
And
I
you
got
never were
extra
like,
time.
guys, it's fine. I don't need
No.
it.
Why? Why would I do that? I'm just like, yeah, please. Like,
The rest of the year is a tertiary. Because
so,
we wanna get to them Jolo Mshato vibes.
so the first 6 months was tough for me.
Yeah.
To a point where sometimes I would not even go to lectures. And I would just sit in
The
my
issue was
room.
just self-esteem. It wasn't
Yeah.
what kids said
No,
or
no.
did. Okay. It was
It was
just
just
you.
self-esteem. People always tried to make me feel like I was a part of them.
Yeah.
But again, because of my within
Yeah.
was not at that point.
You
just
probably
yet.
felt patronized, like,
I
ugh,
felt like, but guys, I'm still burnt
sure.
and I've got scars and people are still staring at me and this is not nice and this is... So I failed one of my biggest major. Excuse me. So I failed one of my biggest majors in my first year. And that was a wake-up call for me because I was there with a bursary. Discam, thank you guys so much.
Siyabonga Discam.
Yes, thank you very much. And I remember I was so scared because a lot of people who had failed lost their like bursars.
Yeah.
And I was so scared and I was like, guys, my mom can't afford this. If they take this away from me, I'm done.
Yeah.
And now like what happens is that varsity actually sends your results to the bursars, not you. You know, and then I called the lady and I was like, hey, did you see my results? And she was like, yes, you did exceptionally well. And I was like,
Aibo.
I did.
Wow.
You know? And she was like, don't worry about this one, man. There's still next year. You can do it. You are doing extremely well. Well done. You know, Itumeleng. Just focus, you know, like your varsity and whatever you need, let me know.
Thank you to that lady and thank you to Discam.
Right?
Yeah.
And they, no lies, they finished and paying for my fees until I was done
Yeah.
with varsity.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really grateful to them.
That means you always shop at Discam now.
Yes, yeah.
And the competition now sees flames. Wow. Look, this is why you offer bursaries and sponsorships and jobs. Because if I give you a job, you must go tell your entire family and friends. Like, say,
Of course.
guys, go shop there at that company.
Yeah.
No, but thank you to Discam and to that lady for being positive as well.
Like she was just like, listen, like you did well.
Yeah.
And true story, I really did do well for the 5, but that one major was just like the thing that really just like broke me. But that was what woke me up and said, listen, stop feeling sorry for yourself, get up and actually make this happen.
And it's not high school anymore.
No.
You're not in high school anymore where you were a superstar.
Yeah.
Here you have to grind.
Yes. Here you need to really, really work.
Sure.
So that really, really did help me. And as I started intentionally going out and letting people see me, that is how I found my confidence, you know, around the school. And then I also realized that, hey, I'm actually the only burnt person here at GJ. So everybody knew who I was. Hi! Then I was like, he even knows my name.
Twitter handle @burntgirl. Oh, the one at UJ. Because she's like the only one.
I was the only girl at GJ.
Again, that was your USP.
Yeah. So every single person knew who I was. Even now, I actually still meet people who are like, you know, I was with you at GJ. And I was like, oh, really?
Celebrate. Don't recognize the fans. Take it easy on the people.
Oh, man. I mean, like psychology. I mean, like how many students were we in that like a classroom alone, communications. It was
And they all
crazy.
remember you.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope. And again, it's an emphasis and a reaffirmation that you are always meant to make an impact.
Yeah.
It could be physical, but when people get to know you, I mean, I was officially meeting you for the first time when we sat, but the conversation, man, and that's why I was like, I wish you nothing but the greatest and the best, because I did say to you that you're unique, and it's kind of unfair because there may be other children who maybe look similar, but they maybe don't have the strength. They aren't as articulate. They aren't as good at school. And because you have the privilege of being able to speak and articulate, and you've built such amazing resilience, and you found a center in God and the church, it is kind of your responsibility to pass on some of that superpower to some of these people and be like, look, maybe you're not smart like me, but you're good at something else. But be strong, be brave, own your beauty. Habi, which is what I actually interrupted you from, because this is the story I want to hear.
Yeah.
How many children do you have?
3.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Please, keep going.
Yeah, so we've got 3 kids.
Did you jola during school and varsity?
Yeah.
Okay, not with him.
No.
Okay.
Not with him.
Your relationships...
They were good.
Hey, but you're married now. Let's speak about your hubby.
Yes. They were good. When I was in varsity, I dated a famous somebody.
Ow.
Yes.
Siyaxolisa baba. Please, we're gonna focus on the hubby story.
Yeah. And then I met my husband. And I call it fate because I lived at Windsor.
Windsor, yeah. Near Cresta there,
Yes.
the Bears.
Yeah. And the first month I was there, I was robbed.
Windsor's become rough, eh?
Oh.
Because apparently it used to be a top neighborhood.
Yeah.
But influx of, I think, and I
Yes.
apologize for saying it, but it is influx of a lot of foreigners that have come in there.
Illegal.
Kind of illegal foreigners as
Yeah.
well. Kind of vandalized the place, and
Yeah.
it's not what it used to be.
Yeah. Illegal foreigners. And I know this for a fact because when I was robbed, a police van was like passing by. And I was like, hey, I stopped, like my entire house is like empty. I mean, they took everything of mine, including the fridge.
Yeah.
Who steals a fridge, guys?
People that are serious.
Anyway, and then the police said, they like walked in and then they said, hey, sister, the people that took your stuff were illegal foreigners. Like we actually have a problem with illegal foreigners breaking into people's houses here. And I was like, fingerprints. And they're like, look, like we will do it, but you must just know that, it's like useless.
Does it trigger you now when you hear the talks? Gaten McKenzie, Kenny Gunene, I know Herman Mashaba when he was mayor of Joburg, Ntantla Lux, Aaron Mutsualedi as well, speaking about the issue of illegal foreigners. Does it still trigger you now that, guys, I've been a victim, so I'm not a fan of open borders. I'm not a fan of our government is kind of messing up with the immigration.
I mean, I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of illegal foreigners.
Yeah.
I think all foreigners are welcome.
Sure.
I travel the world.
Sure.
I've got a passport for it. I am intentional with being lawful. So when I go to the US or London or Paris or like whatever, I have a passport. I actually have documents that people want so that should I do anything in that country, I'm then able to be held liable.
Yeah.
But for your own police people who are supposed to protect you to say things like, there's nothing that we can do because, it's illegal foreigners.
And it's almost like they're not going to investigate. I hope they're also not hiding behind that.
Do you understand?
I really hope.
And for me, it's just like, so there's no accountability. Is that what you're saying to me?
Yeah.
Because of illegal foreigners?
If you guys are aware there's illegal foreigners here, it's incumbent upon you to be like, since we know, and
Yes.
the people have told us,
Yeah.
we have to almost go house to house and
Yeah.
ask people. It's
Yeah.
not disrespectful.
It's
It's not a human rights violation.
No.
We've got an issue
Yeah.
and we are trying to resolve it.
Yeah. And look, that doesn't mean that we don't like foreigners.
Yes.
I love foreigners. In
Yes.
fact, I have a lot of foreign friends.
I can't believe you just said that.
No. And I'm saying it because...
I can't believe you just said that.
No.
No, sorry, please carry
This
on.
is not like a racist saying, oh guys, I've got
Guys,
like
I've
black
got a
friends.
lot of foreign friends.
Or like whatever. But like for me, it's just like saying that I actually have a lot of relationships with a lot of people, because I'm saying that from like a xenophobic point of view.
No, we love
Where, like,
we love
people
foreigners.
hate
We love
foreigners.
foreigners. We
That's
don't
what
like
I'm
people
referring
that
to.
disrespect.
Yes. That's what I'm
protocol.
referring to. That there are people who don't like foreigners.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
I love foreigners. I've got a lot of foreign friends.
Yeah.
Nigerians, Congolese, Zimbabwe,
A lot of
especially
Zimbabwean.
Zimbabweans.
A lot of Zimbabwean, yeah.
Londonese, Paris, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Mabizwa ngama-Londonese.
Yeah, darling.
Ow.
Right? But that doesn't take away from me saying that we don't want illegal foreigners, because they are not here for the right purposes.
Yeah.
Sure, come here for refuge. Absolutely. South Africa is such a beautiful place.
Yeah.
And there are so many opportunities here. There's health facilities and so forth and so forth. Absolutely, come through. But just come here legally.
Sure. Because even refugees, we welcome them.
Yes.
As long as they follow protocol.
As long as you follow protocol, that's it.
Sorry, Windsor, you are robbed. You're still telling me the story of how you met tall, dark, and handsome.
Yeah. So then I moved to Northcliffe.
Because of crime.
Yes, because of crime. I moved to Northcliffe, a safer complex with securities. The price is now much higher. I just left varsity. I just started working. So for me, it was a huge stretch, you know, to have to pay like 1,000 rands higher, for example. But so I moved in on the 31st of May. On the 1st of June, I was writing an exam. And I had to get to UJ from Northcliffe. So I was like, you know what? I'll make a plan. You know, I don't know like what's going to happen. And the first guy that I met was him. And he was down there at the parking lots and with his cars. And I'm like, hi, do you know where I can find a taxi?
And he's like, hey, I can be a taxi.
I mean, like before even that, all I heard was that voice.
Wait.
Like, hi, how are you? And I was like, oh my God, he's the one. You know? And then he said, no, it's fine. He was actually on his way to work as well. So then he'll just like drop me off. So I was like, okay, great. And then he dropped me off. But then he showed me like where
to catch taxis.
Yeah. And then and then later on, then he came through to my apartment. And then that's where we found out that he actually stays right next door me. Yeah. Right next door. So I was, I think 167 and then he was like 166. Yeah. You know what I mean? Obviously I've got no furniture. So he was like, listen, if you've got some stuff that you'd like to keep in my fridge. I was like, oh, darling, let me go and buy some stuff.
I want to keep my whole life inside your place.
Wow.
Not just my fridge stuff.
And then, like we had common interest. He was also in the media industry. I was, also in the media industry. So like that played a huge role. Obviously, we both love movies and TV and everything. So I was always next door. And the rest is history.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Congrats to both of you. I've met your one child. I hope to meet the others. You guys seem to both be very positive, great, organized people. Yeah. And I think you guys can teach the world a lot. I'd really like you to come back and spend time with me. I'd like us to unpack more on is it called the Itumeleng or Siku?
Itumeleng
Sekhu Foundation.
Yeah.
And we need to find out how we can get involved as mainstream society in some of the work you're doing. Finding more corporates like a Discam and what are the work that they are doing so that we can support them. So that we know, guys, we will actively go and support these corporates because they're doing good work. And then paying back, which is always important. And I believe in it. A lot of grant recipients are being mentally killed, brain dead, because they're not expected to pay it back or pay it forward. And a lot of people that have been helped, my scholarship was paid for by Ernst & Young.
Oh, nice.
at varsity because I was meant to go the whole CA.
Yeah.
But to give back to them, and if we're not going to give back to them, to pay it forward and say,
Yeah.
look, I was once sponsored by these people, and the least I can do is, I don't have much money, I can give you a book allowance.
Yeah.
Who are you signed with? Oh, you signed with that firm. I will go to that firm, and every year I will give kids money just for their book allowance to give back.
Yeah.
I think that's fundamentally important. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
I enjoy being around you, and I hope we can spend more time and tell more of these stories and bring more people that you think are transformative, because I can imagine how many people you meet to tell their stories as well. I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to add before we shut it down.
I think from my part, I'd just like to say, well, firstly, thank you so much for inviting me. I think it's so beautiful that we can touch lives, from just like a lens. But for me, it's important that people find their beauty.
Yeah.
But it's more important that people find their power, because power actually resonates again from within and then resonates externally. And Lao Tzu says it best, and he says,
Lao Tzu.
Lao Tzu.
Okay.
And he says that mastering others, that is called strength. But mastering yourself, now that is called true power. And once you can master yourself, it doesn't matter what the external looks like, you become unstoppable. So my prayer is that people will find their power. Because then once they find their power, then they'll be able to find their beauty. I mean, they can always hire me and I can teach them about their beauty, right? But they will find their beauty, and that's where their lives will start changing for the better.
Itu, thank you so much for coming through, and I look forward to us sitting down again soon.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.